Well, Trade Minister Craig Emerson joins me now from Canberra. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for your time. Do you think Peter Slipper did the right thing by resigning?
Well, I do, and it would have been easy for us to vote Peter Slipper out of that position. In fact, it would have freed up one more vote as Mr Slipper would have come back into the Parliament as an independent. But there's an important principle here, Mel, and that is there's a court case on. The judge has reserved his decision on that court case, and the Parliament should not be a kangaroo court, which obviously is what Mr Abbott wants to make it. All
right, so the text messages that you've seen didn't change your opinion? I mean, given the government spent all day defending him, to have him then pull the pin after they'd put it on the line?
Obviously, we were deeply concerned about the text messages, and the Prime Minister made that clear in the debate about whether Mr Slipper should remain or not, and she utterly condemned those text messages, the statements made in them. And obviously it's easy for members of Parliament to say we'll sit there as judge and jury. We actually have courts to do that, and we're in this extraordinary situation where a court hearing is underway, the judge has reserved his decision, and then we're supposed to then preempt that or prejudice it and vote Mr Slipper out. When Mr Slipper indicated that he decided that he would step down, that changed that situation. But you've seen in that recording that you've just shown there, Mr Abbott, you know, giving us lectures on how we should treat women, and again using the Alan Jones phraseology of people dying of shame. Now, what's going on there? Why did he choose that sort of language in that particular circumstance? Let's have a return to some sort of civility in the Parliament.
We might just play that for anyone that missed it overnight. We'll have a listen.
And every day the Prime Minister stands in this Parliament to defend this Speaker will be another day of shame for this Parliament, another day of shame for a government which should already have died of shame.
So I take it then you were surprised by his choice of words?
I was, and it's only, 2 weeks ago that Alan Jones used exactly that phraseology in relation to the Prime Minister's father. Alan Jones said that the Prime Minister's father died of shame. Mr Abbott has said that it's the role of the leader to take responsibility for what goes on in his or her political party. Mr Abbott took no responsibility for Alan Jones, the young Liberals, including 2 Liberal members of Parliament, being in attendance at that particular dinner, and then they sought to cover up and deny that it occurred. It's a disgraceful episode in Australian political history, and for Mr Abbott yesterday to invoke that same terminology is itself almost unbelievable that he would do it, and it shows that he is very close to Mr Jones, who's boasted that he helped install Mr Abbott. And by the way, the reason that Mr Abbott is Leader of the Opposition is because he accepted Peter Slipper's vote. He won by 1 vote over Malcolm Turnbull. All
right, many people will agree with you, but many are also questioning the fact that Peter Slipper was installed as Speaker in the first place also. What does that say about the Prime Minister's judgment?
What it says is this, is that Peter Slipper had been Deputy Speaker, and not only did the Prime Minister think he had done a good job of that, so had the Leader of the Opposition, and he said so. And I think most people, in terms of discharging the responsibility of Speaker, would judge that Mr Slipper had done a good job of that. Now, these developments have occurred. Obviously, the comments were unacceptable, completely unacceptable, but for Mr Abbott to be lecturing Julia Gillard as Prime Minister on the treatment of women is the absolute height of hypocrisy, Mel.
OK, Mr Emerson, very, very quickly before I let you go, are you embarrassed or are you ashamed of what we saw in Parliament yesterday from both sides?
Well, I think it was not an edifying day, obviously. Obviously, it was not an edifying day, nor were the text message exchanges edifying. We have to do better as a Parliament, but the trouble is Mr Abbott is absolutely determined to try to tear down the Parliament. All he does is operate on the basis of aggressive negativity. Let's try to lift the tone of the joint instead of destroying the joint, to which Mr Abbott is fully committed.
Yeah, I can hear everyone agreeing with those words, to lift the tone of the joint. Craig Emerson, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks for your time this morning.
OK, thanks, Mel.
All right, I do appreciate it.